Hello there, yarn lovers. It's Gary, and I'm coming to you from my happy place, the Yarn Corner here on the west coast of Canada. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thursday evening, December the 19th, 2024. How are you all doing? I hope you're well and staying safe. If you're happening across this channel for the very first time, I've set this channel up to talk about all of my yarny adventures. That's in knitting, crocheting, and I talk about my acquisitions, where I purchase my yarn from, or tools of my craft. So if that's of interest, please stick around. And if you're returning, I want to say welcome back. I'm really enjoying reading all of the comments. You're letting me know what you're working on, what patterns are of interest, as well as some exciting yarns that you're trying out. So all of that's super exciting, and I value you sharing those things with me. So thank you. Keep them coming. I'm so excited about presenting this video and putting it all together, because it will be talking about the next MAL or make along that I'm hosting, and it's starting right now. So December the 19th, 2024, it is beginning, and I'm going to give you some guidelines, talk about the theme, all that wonderful stuff, give you some examples so you'll never feel like you're left without knowing exactly what's required to join in and to enter. So you might have heard my seasonal make-alongs are generally called the mood board or a mood board make-along, and we're doing something a little different. It still will be a mood board, but we're not putting all those clips and snippets and pictures and wonderful places that we go to down on the board. We're going to be using our yarn to create our mood board, and I'm really excited about this one because it cuts out one of the steps, but we use our yarn to describe something, an emotion, and we're going to be placing it all into sequence or patterning, or thinking about like different ways we can use the yarn to evoke that emotion. So yeah, let's talk about what the theme is and the hashtag. So we're going to be hashtagging our makes and calling it hashtag moodboard mal winter 24. So that covers all of our works that we're going to create, will be the mood board, and then taking the yarn and making a project. So in the end, you'll be submitting me two things. One will be the mood board with the yarn on it, and the second item will be the just a picture of the finished item. So all of that later. But we're going to have this open and going for a couple of months. So I generally like to give about 9 weeks. So I'm going to be closing this on March the 1st, 2025, in the new year. So that will give us a number of weeks, I think 9 altogether. I'm really excited about giving that extended time, because for me as well, I like to embark on slow processes until I come up with something that I really want to do. So I have a couple of snippets I'm going to add in throughout this video to explain some of the process, but let me get to the theme before we move on to those clips. So the theme of this mood board, I hear you ask, what's the theme? So we've done things like songs to lyrics and finding our emotions and creating mood boards to songs to lyrics. We've done architect to emotions. So that's construction of things. We're looking around our spaces and finding lovely details in architecture that we want to put into our works and patterns that we choose. And the last one, which was, I can't remember what it was now. It was just recent too. We did a close of it. Oh, help me out here. Anyway, I'm sure that you're all screaming at the camera saying like, oh, it was blah, blah, blah. Oh, it was the blend ship boards. How could I forget? Where we combined a favorite person or a special person into a board, and combined and connected with ourselves on how we have the similarities and differences. And that was a wonderful project indeed. So this one, super excited about it. And I mentioned super in a way because it's going to be exploring your fade or exploring your rainbow. Like, what's your fade? What's your rainbow? And we're going to be using the yarn, putting it down in front of us, like And the yarn that I'm asking people to use, it won't be like a cake that is the fade already determined by the hand dyer, or the fade that is determined by already presented inside of the cake. What we're going to do, similarly, the striped rainbow, we don't want to buy one cake that goes through all those colors, because we want to explore our own exploration with our own rainbow or our own fade. So I'm using minis, and I'm using leftovers, and I'm using full hanks of solid, sort of semi-solid tonal selected colors, so to create my own. And that's what I'm requiring for you to do as well if you want to join in, is that you'll get your yarn, one that is not a faded cake already predetermined, or faded, or a rainbow stripe predetermined. You're going to be creating your own. So we're going to lay all the yarn that we're going to be using in a sort of order. It doesn't have to be precise or set in stone, but in some type of resemblance of what you want to use for your piece at the end. Now, this is the perfect time to be doing something like this, because I've been watching a lot of people talk about their advent calendars, and what are they going to do with this new yarn? Maybe there's yarns that cross over, or leftover advents because they don't fit into the project, and you have all these leftover scraps from other projects throughout the whole year of this year, like 2024. So pull them all out, let's take a look, lay them all out, and then take a photograph of the arrangement that you have. That will be your mood board. What we're going to add on top of that, once we get the photograph down, is we're going to name what our special superpower is for that rainbow. Now, is it a dark and mysterious kind of superpower that you're trying to conjure up here? Maybe you want to call it something like mystique, or mysterious, or intrigue, or maybe you want to go bright and happy, and you've taken a photograph of all these colors. That's your rainbow, or that's your fade. Then those are the things that you're going to be naming, like maybe cheerful or spontaneity. So I've got some examples as well, and the process that I'll take you through, the steps that I've got in some clips. But before I do, I noticed that you're asking what Hank and I are wearing. So Hank is my man form here, and I thought this was really appropriate. I'll start with me first, because this is the process that I had. When I first did my very first fade, I got a number of different colors in my stash. Some were leftovers, some were full hanks. And I thought I'd like to do a fade from this brown, speckly, it was almost like miniature stripes here, like micro striping. And I had a slightly different variety. And then I had this tonal green. So I had three hanks, or three different colorways that I wanted to fade into this piece here. And this was my cowl test that I did for this piece here. This is not a pattern, it's just garter stitch. And I did a long strip just to see how the fade would work. And in the end, I thought I'd seam it up, and that will become a cowl that I could possibly, brighten up my attire with a little bit of texture. And now this one was the piece that I did it for. And I'm going to look down here so I don't get it wrong. The pattern is knitted, and it's the Venturing Scarf by Ambah O'Brien. All patterns that I mentioned will be linked down below in the description box. So this is my fade that I had tested in here, going from the kind of a jade green and then into this autumnal colorway. So yeah, that's my fade I created. So I didn't give it a name, because back then it wasn't a mood board project that I did. It was just, I wanted to try out a fade. But now I will move over into a clip where I'll show you what it is that I am using for this one, and some more ideas where I'm offering up how you can set up your mood board, take a photograph, name it, as well as choosing a pattern. So there are patterns down below in a bundle that I've provided in the description box, and that's a Ravelry bundle. So you'll need to have access to Ravelry to see all of the patterns that I am leaving as suggestions. But I'm sure you have a few of your own, and I'm super excited for you to join in as well. So here are the clips, and I'll come back and I'll end it with a little bit of a wrap up and how to get your items to me. Hopefully Future Gary has edited in an introduction, and this segment or clip will be explaining a little bit more about what we're doing for the winter mood board. I've got a couple of boxes here with all the different scraps that I have not used and all the different mini sets that I've purchased. Go through your yarn, see what you have in the way of the colors that you want to use. Now, in my instance, I'm going to be using some minis and some leftover yarn, and I am going to combine full hanks as well. So that's what we're going to be doing. I have some examples here that I want to show you. So I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going with a bit of a fade / rainbow effect here. Make sure that you can see that. So I've got my first one up here, which is all dark and berry-like. So I'm calling this like a sort of the night theme, the more shady kind of look. This is more of my color palette usually, which is lots of greens, blues, and there's some purple in there as well. So more tropical. And then the one down here is more of the pastel, soft romantic look. So I'm going for 3 different looks. I'm not going to do all of them. I haven't chosen which one I'm going to do yet. I've picked a pattern, and it's from this book here that I purchased from Stephen and Penelope. It is Painting Shawls, which has 13 knit patterns from Stephen West. It's a fantastic book. I absolutely love it. And I've chosen my pattern within that publication. You could purchase the book or you could buy the individual pattern itself on Ravelry. It's Painting Bricks Shawl, and it requires 8 20-gram mini skeins. In the instance where I only have 10 grams, like here, I've added a few extra colors that I can make up that extra 10 grams so that each of them is 20 grams. And I've got some choices there should I want to go a different way. The pattern is also requesting 2 solids, 2 full 100-gram solids, and this is what I was thinking. I'm using this color here, which is the Knit Picks Hawthorn, and it's the tonal variety, Deer Island Hawthorn Tonal. It's a really lovely deep red. For this one here, which is the Safari / kind of adventure, I am choosing the Malabrigo Ultimate Sock in the colorway Whole Grain. And the last one up here, which is the Mysterious Deep and Rich one, I'm using these 2 here, which is the Yarn Bee Authentic Hand Dyed, and the colorway is called Sahara. So you'll see in the next clips that I'm going to add each of these separately laid out in my board that I'm going to be naming the emotion that I want to evoke. And I can choose a couple of names if there are a few things that relate to the color palette that I've chosen for my fade or my rainbow. I'll be back in the next clip with those boards, and I hope that you join in. See you then. Bye. I've shown you all of these wonderful yarns that I'm going to be using to create my superpower rainbow or superpower fade. And I can't wait to see what your superpower is and what kind of yarn you're going to be using for your fade or rainbow. It's really truly an exciting exchange, I think, that when you are going to enter and you're going to show me the clips of what your yarn is doing and what your pattern is, I think that connection is going to be so fantastic. So my suggestions are just merely suggestions for, playing with my yarn, but I know that you'll have a multitude of different answers to the special, make along and the theme that is involved. And there's a multitude of different patterns out there that you could choose, which you can explore with a very vibrant stripy rainbow or a very subtle muted fade. And I can't wait to see it all. So you'll need to get that into me as photographs. So photograph of your board with the name on it, or the feeling, or it's evoking your super emotion, and then your finished item to me before March the 1st, 2025, and you can email them into me at urbanyarn101@gmail.com, and I will reply that I've received it, and then we're all set to go for the slideshow presentation at the end or the conclusion of this make along. I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope that you'll join in too. I think I covered everything. If I've forgotten anything or you've got questions, please do reach out to me. Pixel says reach out to, she's barking downstairs, to the email address that I've just mentioned, urbanyarn101@gmail.com, and I can clear anything up that you're asking, and that'll be wonderful. So without further delay, I will get back to my special colors here. I'm going to cake them up and start my project. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now.